Life Talks with Sarah Patience
and Immaculate, and today's Sunday, Mother's Day. Everybody's excited about their mothers and presents and cards and lovely things for your mother.
What a great day to actually be able to upload our first video ever on Mother's Day, seeing that I'm lucky enough to have my mom here, and she's obviously lucky to have me.
Yeah. Nice to be talking to my daughter. Those are things that motherhood is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
To reach this stage that you can do things with your child. I'm so happy and excited, and I hope you're out there treating your mothers, making them proud and happy.
Definitely. So, Mom, what is your favorite moment right now as a mom? Do you miss you being a young mom, or are you just enjoying this stage of your life as a mother?
At this stage, I'm enjoying. School fees is finished.
True.
Everybody's working. I'm happy and proud. What more do I need? I'm sitting in my palace.
True. Do you miss being a young mom?
Young mom was being busy, but it's also like the experiences, I wouldn't change them for anything. It's the best time of my memories. Remembering how to give birth to my kids. I never imagined I could give birth to a child. But to manage to give birth to a child and bring them up to this stage, that's the perfect life I would have thought of.
Well, I'm grateful, obviously, for having you as a mom, and I've learned a lot. So hopefully, like one day when I have kids, I'll be able to obviously bring the good that you've taught me. But we obviously want to recognize that so many women out there haven't had opportunities either to be with their moms on this day, especially being COVID, but also not everyone has a good relationship with their mom. So that's something we want to be able to be sensitive about for different reasons as well. So, and there's so many women as well who long to be a mom that may not actually have that opportunity yet or in this life. So we kind of wanted to talk about that. Like, what advice would you give to women who are longing to be a mom, and a day like this may bring out really sad moments for them? How do you help them in a day like this to get through such a difficult time?
Being a mother doesn't need to be like a biological child. You can be a mother to any child in the world. After all, we are all mothers of the world. If you get a chance to treat any child nice, you are being a mother. Give them the love that their mother, because there are so many children out there who are looking for motherly love, and they might not get it at home. So if you get a chance in your job, in your work, anywhere, like a child needs help, and you do that help for that child, that's being a mother. That's all that's motherhood about.
Very true. Thank you for sharing that. Like, obviously, from your experience, you would have had such a community to help you raise your kids. Predominantly, you probably would have raised them as a single mother. So for like young girls out there, even older ladies who are having their kids and having to do this on their own, what best advice have you had, or something that you've experienced that you would like to pass on to them?
Obviously, being a single mother is not good, like not easy, but it can be done. I have done it, so you have seen it. So it can be done. But every child, where possible, needs two parents, so that you can have both your father's advice and upbringing and a role model as a father and a mother as well. So the two parents together. But I was playing a role of both father and mother, which makes it more hard. But it was enjoyable as well, like to be playing both sides, like a mother and a father to my kids. And I hope nobody complained. Did you complain?
Sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I know that's expected.
Yeah, anyway, on that point, like, what do you mean you're excited and you're happy to play both roles?
Because sometimes it's like life is experiences and emotions that come with life. That's what life is all about. Life is not a straight line. It is not happy. It is a roller coaster. It is up and down. Some days you are happy, some days you are not. That's what they call life. So those experiences built me. Like sometimes it's hard. Like the children at home, they are looking for food, and you know that it's only you. And you fear to be sick because you'll be out of work. So all those things. But in the end, like when you manage, like you learn to cope with all this. And you'll work towards that. Like sometimes I'm lazy to get up, but when I remember the kids, I have to jump out quick in the car and go to work. Because I can't afford, I don't have the luxury of staying home and just sit there and do nothing, because I have to provide and support the family. So that gave me the motivation to work. I think without that I would be very lazy.
It makes sense. I guess we all have we need different motivations to help us get through like motherhood.
Yeah.
Like obviously I'm not a mother, so maybe one day I'll have that opportunity in whatever way life will be able to present it. But I think something that I would say I'm grateful for about you is just the home environment that you created, you know, like whether it's a simple thing of like yesterday, like I went to the room and you had my pajamas ironed, like I literally went to bed with a smile, or if it's just the fact that you know what one of us may need, or you're like, oh, so-and-so loves this specific things in the shop, so I'll buy that. So I feel like you see us and you recognize us. But obviously as a child, we also see and wish for certain things for like our parents to have. So I think for me, without a child, that maybe sometimes is what motivates me, where I'm like, okay, I need to achieve this to help maybe my mom be able to have that, to experience that, because she may not have experienced it. So I don't know if you have any questions for me. I'm not a mom, so
Like as like a child, like you see a mother, sometimes we parents like tend to direct our children's lives. Do you think at one point that did I really make your life go to the direction you yourself would have wanted, or you are doing everything to make me happy?
that's a good question. I think like every child like out there wants to make their parent proud if they have a good relationship, I guess. I think the best way to answer it, like you went with me to my first day of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in college. So I remember you told me like, if you just dress, like, do you like dressing well? Like I was like, yeah, you're like, pick business. So I really just picked that. But I am grateful for that. But I think I always remember during my master's and we're driving to work, you're driving me to work and I was having such a hard day. And you know, you're complaining about something in the world or politics and things that were going wrong and how these policymakers weren't making the right choices. And you turned around in the car and you're like, Sarah, I just can't wait for you to graduate so you can change all these terrible things we've been doing. And it just made me so happy. But I just started crying because I realized I don't even have a clue what I'm doing now. And I don't know if I'll have opportunities to change the world. But it's just the faith you had in me that like, whatever is happening, you just felt that like once I graduate, I was going to solve the problems of the world. But I genuinely see that attitude with like all my siblings, that you're always like, so-and-so can do this, so-and-so will be able to do, like, it's just, we can't fail. It's like you have this confidence that like, of course you can do it, like, why not? So I think, I don't know if I feel like you directed my path in a negative way. I think it just helped me know, like, whatever the direction that you were taking me or encouraged me, that it was going to work out for my good. And it's such a great confidence boost to have, because you're going there knowing I can't fail. Like somebody,
that's very good.
Like, someone believes in me, so of course I can do this.
Like a mother, you believe all your children. Every mother says their children are the best, they are the brightest,
kind of are.
And you have to encourage your children. That's the idea of being a mother or being a parent, because your children are your future. So you have to see the kind of life they are leading. Though, like at the moment, like it's not like maybe at my time, like my mother wouldn't have had the same chances to direct me because she wouldn't know any better. Like, but she still wanted me to go to school. Like, go to school. That's the key to your life. My father used to say, I don't want you to get married. I've given you your husband. That's your book and your pen. So that kind of made me know that my father wouldn't push me, because at that time, girls were not really like, they would pick boys over the girl to go to school. But my father treated us the same. And he said, I've given you the best chance. There is no need for you to panic, no stress. You're going to school, and that will open your life. And that opened my life. Like each time I went to school, like I would say that this is my chance to break through. Like what life is all about. Because my father and my mother always encouraged me to go to school. I remember my father was always very strict. I was just like a little soul when I was young, because when we were going, I was in a boarding school, but it was far from home. So I would pack a suitcase of food separate and clothes, and my father said, you'll be lazy, you'll be eating, and I don't want that. So my father would not want me to pack food. But what my mother would do, she would pack the suitcase and take it to hide like near the bus stop, like 4 days before the time.
Oh, wow.
So I know that the food is there. So when my father is giving out to me, you can't take food because you'll be eating and this, I'm smiling because I know my mother has sorted that already, that the suitcase has been forwarded out there. And then she'll give me money as well extra without my father seeing, because my father will be strict that this is This envelope is for your transport. This one is for your pocket money. This is for emergency. Don't open this. Whatever reason, this is for your emergency. And I would do that when I would go. I would go to school and go to the bursary and hand over the envelopes, you know? And that's why I never ended up like using my money, because I would live there and there was nothing I saw as emergency or I needed to spend, because I had a big box of food like that I would eat. So.
Yeah. But I think it goes to show like every mom has their place, and it balances out like maybe a husband or a partner. But even in the story, I really feel like, you know, obviously it's Mother's Day and we want to keep the focus on mothers, but so many moms are able to be even better moms because of the support they have from their partners or family members. So I think I always, obviously I'm not a mom, so you can judge me in any other way. I feel like having that extra support can help you be a better mom, whether your partner can point out strengths so that you can actually see some weaknesses that your husband is having that don't actually balance out what a child needs, and you can, you know, complement each other. So like that story really brings that out. So
it is that like that. That's why the kids need both parents, technically. But obviously, for various reasons, people might not have both parents. But still, it doesn't make it any different. Like maybe financially and security and all that is hard. But you, the parent, if you are focused, like in my time, we gave birth like without planning. There was no money in the bank, like or anything. You just would give birth, like because it was time to be having children. And then like you work through that too. Like the kids need school fees, and you go and work and go and sell that goat, go and sell that cow for the children to go to school. It was not really planned. Like the way people now, like you people will want to plan and I need this money in the bank. Children don't come that way. If obviously you are able to plan, that's nice.
yeah, it's a great
But
advantage.
children, you don't plan. They just come and they help you work, like towards that. Especially because as soon as you give birth, there's that bond between a mother and their child. You want that child to do better than you. You know, that pushes you kind of. You try to shape your child according to that. That I would like, and like obviously you give birth to this child, so you know their strength and their weaknesses. So you like kind of try to gear their life towards where their positive skills are. Like so that they don't fail. Like that's what you always see. Like this easy to see as a mother, because you are with a child all the time. So you know the child's life better than the father, because the father, some fathers are very close to their children.
That's true.
Yeah, like they will know, but some might not, because they are so preoccupied of earning and supporting their family. But the mother is always there, listening to all the cries and all the stories about this and all that. So you would be more in tune with the child's life as a mother. It is very interesting. Like it's a learning circle, obviously. Like nobody comes with a specific book that this is how to be a good mother. Like everybody, you have to adjust your life according to your own surroundings. Because you cannot say because the other mother has brought their children nicely like that, I will bring mine also like that. No, it comes like, and with the time, like you do things that suits you. And you create, like for me, I always had this, obviously I grew up in a village. So there was no really like set system. Like the children belong to everybody. But then I found myself in the city by myself. The family, the circle of support was limited. So I had to create. I remember thinking, my mother used to love her grandchildren so much. Like, will I ever be a good mother like that? You know? But I would copy what she does to the kids. Then I will bring to my own kids. Like, I will have to do like this because I see what I like, what she's doing. That's how I learned. Because there's no book that you are going to bring your child like this and this. And I obviously like being educated. Sometimes I used to read the books, like how to bring up a good child and things like that. How to see when a child is sick, the temperature, the what changes in life. So, but everything is learned as you go. So you shouldn't panic like I will not be a good mother. You will be a good mother because that urge to make your child good and better in life will make you do the nice things to nurture that child.
Yeah, thank you. And I think a lot of our focus has been on like mothers to children, but what about actually adults who, you know, this may be a bit close to home, who on this day they don't have their mothers around, whether maybe their mothers passed away or it's a strained relationship. is there anything, maybe you can answer the question in two different ways, whether how to deal with a parent who is not here, and some people have lost parents at such a young age, some people at an older age, but it leaves that gap, and how to deal with such a day. But also for those who have quite difficult relationships with their mothers, how can they use such a day as well to have a positive impact then? Especially being in lockdown, you don't want such a day to actually bring so much negativity that affects weeks and months from now.
Obviously, in general, like in life, communication is very important. If you have like a difficult relationship with your mother, the most thing I would say is offer like a line of communication. It doesn't hurt to say sorry.
True.
Or if you find it really hard, use your actions. Like on Mother's Day, just send a card or send flowers, even if you don't have to go there. Like you find, but she will know that you are thinking about her. And that's what mothers want. Like, because sometimes it is, you don't know why your mother acts the way she is. Because there's always problems in life. And they might feel that they betrayed you or they failed you. So that's why they act that way. So you try to bridge that gap and communicate better as a child. Don't be bitter. Don't be sad. Just make an effort. That's all it takes. You might just unfold the other things. Like when she realizes that, so my child thinks about me.
But what about the mother? What, in this case, obviously, we're talking about parent, where a mother is not having a good relationship with the child. What can a mother do then to also initiate this type of conversation and healing?
Like, ask for forgiveness. Like, it doesn't hurt to ask. Your child is your child. No matter what kind of life you have or where you have gone wrong, your child will always be your child. Ask them to forgive you. Like, if I made a mistake, and maybe I explain your situation. Why did you behave the way you did? Or like, for example, maybe if you left your child at a young age, or like now they are adults and they have lost contact with you, there's no bond. So you just kind of try to make them understand. For me, I believe in talking. I think you can agree with that. I like to sit the children down and tell them life as it is. I don't hide things. Obviously, there are things that I don't want the children to worry about, especially finances, because the children start to worry about finances. Like, sometimes I say I'm broke. I might not really be too broke. I just want them to know that you can only ask what is needed.
Yeah, what's actually,
Yeah, not what you want, like other kids, like we can't afford. So, things like that. Like, you just bring it in a nice way. There's a way to talk about bad situations in a nice way. And obviously, like, if you have a strained relationship with your child, you want to make that relationship better. Like, you don't want to die with the regrets. So you try to make an effort to communicate better, ask for forgiveness, and let the child decide by themselves whether they want the relationship to begin or not.
Anytime.
Yeah.
How would you cope, like, on a Mother's Day where your mom isn't here for you to, like, shower them with flowers or gifts or, like...
Obviously, it is hard. Like, I was very close to my mom, as you know. On a Mother's Day, I always think of her. But what helps me is the stories that I have, like the memories with her. And sometimes I think back on that, and that makes me happy. Like, my mother, even though she's not here, she did build me. She helped me. And she was a funny lady, so I think of those memories, and I laugh. And then I'm not sad anymore. And then also, like, I look at my children, I look at you. Like, she helped me bring up all my kids. So that makes me happy and grateful to her. So on a day like Mother's Day, I'm grateful to my mom for all the help and all the support she gave me. She's not here, but her presence is felt in the things she left behind.
There's I can't remember the quote, but there's a quote, it's an African quote that says, we stand strong because we stand on the backs of our ancestors. Something along those lines. And I think it's really important to know that, like, when you show up, that you don't show up, you're not empty, you're not alone. Like, you're showing up with so many women and so many men that, like, have helped you be where you are, and their presence is felt. And, like, and I feel like that's a presence you can ask for, like, to get that strength to actually, do what you want as a parent or as an employee, whichever. Yeah, but do you have any...
That's why it is important, like, when life is normal, life is not a big bang. Like, the memories. These are memories you build every day.
Yeah.
So make each day count. Like, be happy. Even if you are sad, talk about it and you laugh together. Like, I remember one time we were just like, we were a little bit sad and we were on the, like in the car, and I just put music and we started singing along, and that was it. Like, it made us happy. Like, we forgot the sadness. No, things like that. Do the small things. They count. They build up as well. And one day, because every day is different, it is never going to be the same. So things like this help you. Like, one day when I'm not there, you'll think back to those memories and just say, my mom really did like this and this. And you'll do the same to your own children.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I actually do remember that day. It's one of my favorite memories musically, because my mom used to have this habit where she would listen to the radio. really, you could barely hear, basically. And when you try to increase the volume, she'll be like, Sarah, that's too loud. And you will disturb the neighbors and other people driving. But you could barely hear. But it was like my first heartbreak, and you're all up in your feelings because you think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you and you'll never recover. And we're driving, and this song came up, and I remember you put down all the windows, and all the windows in the car were open, and she blazed the music, and she started dancing and singing, and we were screaming on top of our voices. But I just, till today, when that song plays, it just brings me back so much joy. Yet at the time, I was feeling so much sadness. And I think it is true, like, it's the memories, like you always say, like, it's the memories that you will keep you company on hard days.
Yeah.
So on ordinary days, build the memories so that you have something to look back on.
To look back and fall back on, because life is not, like, it is not predictable. We are not given, like, a calendar that on such and such a time this is going to happen. No. Like, the memories you build when you are happy, they'll keep you happy. Even sometimes there's sad things, because sad things, take them as chances. Like, sometimes people think that sadness brings you down. Sometimes the sadness actually makes you jump, because it depends on how you treat that sadness. If you take it as a challenge, like to overcome, that strength, you'll always say, if I overcame this challenge, I can do anything. There's nothing more sad or worrying than that time.
It's true.
Yeah.
So you're obviously a grandmother as well, and your mother.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference? Do you prefer being a mother over a grandmother? Like, where do your favorites lie?
I think I like both.
No, you can't like both.
I can. Because if I didn't have children, I wouldn't have grandchildren. Yeah. So from my children, because like my children remind me, the grandchildren remind me of my children. Like, the things that I didn't do well for my children, I'll do through my grandchildren. That's why I spoiled my grandchildren. The things I couldn't afford them, I can afford now. So I give it to them. Like, because in essence, I'm really like giving to my own children. Like the things they didn't have as kids. So I'm giving to their children.
I should hurry and have mine so you start giving back. But I remember
I'm waiting for that.
Someday, I remember someone saying, grandchildren are the reminder and blessing for not killing off your own kids. And I think it's really great, because it makes sense. Like, when you're having kids, I think you're just like, oh my God.
But I was really lucky. Like, my children never really reached that point that I want to kill them. My children were always good. And they are always good up to now. Because we are always able to talk things over. Like, I think it is nice to build a relationship whereby there's a friendship kind of. But as a parent, of course, you'll set limits.
It's a balance.
But the kids should be free to talk to you. You know, come to you anytime, any day. And I think I remember telling you that I don't mind when you started like going out, like clubbing and all that. I just said, wherever you are, if you feel that you are stuck, I don't care the time. Call me and I will be there. You know, because I'll literally be waiting anyway. So I'll be thinking about you.
For me, that was probably one of my biggest blessings, because like all my 20s and you're clubbing all the time. Like, I knew I never had to feel obliged to go home with someone or to take a lift of someone, you know, I wasn't comfortable, because I knew no matter where I was and how terrible where I was, that if I called, you would pick me up. Yeah. And, you know, like, and I think for me it was helpful, because when I would get home, I don't think I ever remember a night coming home and you weren't awake. Like, and sometimes it, to be honest, was like 3 a.m., 6 a.m. Just depended on the night. But like, you would be up and like you would ask me. You wouldn't be like, Sarah, do you know what time it is or anything like that. You would ask me about my night, and I would tell you about like who was there, who acted like a fool, who didn't, what I enjoyed, what song was on. and I'm sure like some of my outfits you'd be like, Sarah, you should wear tights. Sarah, you need a jacket. That skirt's a bit too short. But if I was like, no, this is fine, we all wear this, I don't need ties. You don't feel cold when you're going clubbing. I probably really did. But you didn't enforce your own boundaries on me. Like you let me do it anyway. And I would be like, oh yeah, you know that those ties, I should have worn them. Or anything like that. But you would let me come home and talk about my night. And then I feel like if you felt something shouldn't have been happening, you'd let me speak about what happened, and then after you would be like, yo, maybe next time you could avoid this. So when I was in the same situation, I could hear you and I was comfortable. So I never felt, as a girl, I never felt in any situation that I was stuck and I had to just do what somebody else said, because I knew, worst case scenario is I can call my mom and I'll be out of here. Or if my friends were in trouble, I knew I could be like, my mom's got us. Like, and I think it helped me stay safe as a girl. It really helped me stay safe out there. So like,
thank you, because that's important. Like the children have you, their security. So it is better they know. Like I know all the parents have to be strict, but sometimes I don't believe in being too strict. Because then the kids start, kids like to experiment things. What you stop them from doing is what they will want to do. So you don't want to push the kids to do things just to see how far they can irritate you. Because sometimes kids do that. Like they just say, oh, mom doesn't want us to go this way. I will definitely go and see how she will react. So you just go like, sometimes I feel proud, like you used to bring, all of you used to bring your friends home. And I could be in the bedroom and I hear them inviting you to go out and drink. And I say, no, we don't drink in our home. That made me so proud. Like,
those days. Now people are adults. So
but now they're adults, like you can know, like, you know the limits as well. Like, because life, you have to experience all the things. You don't want to be blocked. I remember in my teens, we were not allowed, at school, we were fenced. The bus came and picked us from the school and dropped us into our towns, and the parents took us over. There was no time, excuse me, no time to interact with anybody. So after S4, we all went wild and everybody got pregnant. Because of the freedom.
This is what they have been stopping us from.
So because you say, oh my God, the freedom at last. So we didn't know how to, like, even say no to the boys or whatever like that. It was just a chance that I have this chance. When I go home, they are going to lock me up. So
that brings me to a question. In your time, or like obviously you were quite close with your mom, was sex a topic you'd ever talk about? Because obviously when everyone left, like was going into college, everybody got pregnant. Was this just because it wasn't something like a taboo that even moms didn't talk about?
For us, like my mother would not be the one comfortable to talk about sex like openly, because that time sex was really sacred. But she would tell you stories. Like my mom would say, "Don't touch boys." Like when you got your period. I remember when I got my period, I was thinking I'm pregnant now because nobody had talked to me about my period. Nobody had told me anything about boys. I didn't even have a boyfriend. But just because I saw my period, I said, oh my God, what happened to me today? Like something happened. I must be pregnant. And all the scared. And then she came and said, no, it is okay. like this is not pregnancy. I said, are you sure? Because she knew I didn't have a boyfriend. So how could I get pregnant? But I was scared because they used to say that when you reach that age, you can get pregnant easily. Like when you see a period, you're going to. So there was no talking about sex. We learned. That's why we made so many mistakes because nobody really talked to us. Though sometimes at school, I'm sure, like our schools at that time, because I was in a missionary school, the senior woman, they used to say the senior teacher or whatever, but we call senior woman. She would talk to you briefly about sex. Not really anything much that was helpful. Then you became curious.
Instead of educating you to prevent sex, you just became more curious.
Because they left half information. So you wanted to find out what goes on beyond this, what they are telling us. But it was interesting, to learn by yourself as well. But obviously, if we had, now, the children now are more exposed. People can talk freely about sex. I'm sure our life would have been different than what it turned out to be.
Makes sense. Well, we're going to conclude and we'll continue this kind of conversations. But is there anything you want to say or ask me before we end? I'm
just happy that we are doing this together. And I hope we are doing great things, and we will do more great things. And this will mature, and this will be memories I will leave for you and your children.
It's so true. They say there's an audience for everything. So I hope you guys are our audience. So please subscribe, please like, and hit the notification bell. And thank you so much for spending this time with my mom and myself. Thank you.
Bye.